Hi there, welcome back to Creative with Crafted Life. My name is Melanie, and today is the project share for the Blitz Your Kitz collaboration. This is a collaboration where we are picking a kit 1 month and sharing the projects we make in the second month. It is a hashtag collaboration. Be sure to click on the hashtag in the description or the title of this video.
Okay, so let's start with the photo play projects that I made. This is the only scraps that I have left. I am purging these. Not even going to bother keeping them. I went with a similar design and from the majority of these cards, and I went with slimline. And because I didn't have very much in the way of ephemera, I made my own by cutting out the images on this piece of paper. These images were not salvageable because of the way they were cut off, which is why I still have that left over. So I basically maxed out the paper by coming up with split patterns, and I used whatever leftover bits for a frame. And in some cases I used some of the extra green for grass. I ran out. And so I pulled from my stash, same with this light turquoisey, light blue from my stash. And then the sentiments, I think, are all from Tim Holtz's Small Chat sticker book. You'll notice that I have some rickrack on here. If you've watched my Smash Your Stash video in March, I had some of this left over that I was hoping to use, and I just needed an extra month. I think these turned out pretty cute. This one here, I added the one tab that I had, and I'm just going to find a small stamp or another sentiment or something that I can just put in here. And then this one, I played off the paper itself and just kind of did this block design, and I think that one turned out pretty cute as well. And then when I saw the little bunny floating with the balloon, I remembered that I had this embossing folder from Stampin' Up, I believe. It was called Cloudy Day. And so I embossed that on some of this turquoise blue in my turquoise blue cardstock I had in my stash, mounted it on black for a little bit of contrast, and then another one of those Tim Holtz stickers. So that is what I made with the photo play cardstock. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Okay, now let's talk about the Echo Park. Okay, this is the Craftermath of the Echo Park collection, little bits and bobs. I am just going to be recycling these, and let me share with you what I made. So I made 3 cards, a really simple one with the focus more on the words. I took the rainbow paper and I turned it into a scallop, which I like much better. And then on the inside here, I trimmed out one of the 3x4 cards and added it to the interior. I didn't have any space on the front, and so I thought that was a great way to still kind of get a fun image on a card. This was the other 3x4 card, and just layered up some paper. And then this here used one of the ephemera pieces. Actually, it used 2. This was the piece that had the handbag on it, and so I just cut it in half and split it on either side. And then let's talk about the scrapbook page. It's a double page layout, and I had a tragedy. And well, okay. Let me zoom you out and then we'll talk about the tragedy. Okay, so here's the 2-page layout. This is the tragedy. So the original intent was to include this quote which says, "Spring reminds us that there's beauty in a fresh start." And I was intending to place it somewhere over here. I was busy die cutting out the words using the die that came in the kit. And I heard this kind of weird sound in my die cutting machine, and it's an electronic one. And I was like, well, that was weird. Didn't think too much about it. It went through, cut just fine. And then I went to start putting the page together, and I was looking everywhere for this die, and I could not find it. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It's a pretty big piece. Like, where could it possibly have gone? I must have spent about half an hour looking for it. And I was just about to concede, and for some reason I was like, check inside your die cutting machine. And sure enough, there it was wrapped around the rollers. And as you can see, not salvageable. So this will be recycled. Oh, let's talk about the scrapbook page. So I love taking photos of flowers and animals, and every now and then I get some photos that I quite like. And so I have an album just of flowers and I have an album just of animals, and that's where this layout is going. It features some lilacs that I found here in California. You don't see too many of these, I think probably because the weather's just too warm, but there are some at a local botanical garden. So I did want to include them in this specific album. These are 6x6 papers. This was the 4x6 card. This here was the camera paper. So I split that and then I trimmed out the cameras from the remaining piece. I used the rainbow paper as a border on either side. This was an ephemera piece that had a saying that I knew I was never going to use, so I cut out a white piece to cover the image and just use the matte. This was an ephemera piece in the set, as was this piece here, and I tucked it in enough so that you didn't see the saying that I would never use. The flowers were from a Stampin' Up! Punch out of the yellow paper, and I think that's all there is to say about it. It's got a lot of white space, and I'm okay with that. When I have photos that I like, I don't mind having a lot of breathing space so that you can see the photos. I hope that makes sense. Sorry for the glare. There we go. So that is it for this kit. I really don't have much left. I didn't use the stamp set again this month, but I did use the die, so I'm quite pleased with that. I don't have anything left, so I would say I blitzed this kit. Be sure to check the other collaborators. Click on the hashtag to see all the videos, and be sure to leave a comment below if you are blitzing a kit as well. And if you're sharing on social media, I'd love to know your handle so I can look you up. I think that's it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And until next time, happy crafting.